Alrighty, so unfortunately I literally just recorded this video and my audio wasn't being captured, so that is fantastic. I'm pretty upset about that, but here we are. I'm a little bit late because I literally have to sleep at some point, and I always seem to be in the bed whenever JP and Korea do their sort of updates and everything like that. So yeah, I don't know. I honestly just I can't even say anything about it. I literally just have to sleep sometime, but I don't normally go over JP and Korea's sort of patch notes or anything like that, but I think because we're so close to getting caught up with the sort of JP and Korean servers, and the updates are getting closer and closer together, I think it would be cool to go over some of this stuff because it shouldn't be too much longer before we actually get this stuff on the global version of the game. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit faster because the last time I did this it was about 16 minutes long. Hopefully we can trim that down a little bit, but you probably already have realized at this point that we're getting Excalibur Arthur as the character, which is really interesting. And I was thinking that they were going to try to do this as a festival, but I don't think that they're doing that anymore because I think they realized that this character isn't something that people are going to be willing to go all the way to the 900 mark for. And I say that because he is literally a humans only character. His skills and everything like that pertain to building a humans sort of team. And I don't think it's going to be beneficial enough for most players to stop using like Goddess Liz and some of the other like support characters like Gother and stuff like that to really like drop them and focus on just a humans only. So I'm pretty happy with like how all of this is like looking to turn out. Because like first of all, his outfit and everything like that, like this, I'm pretty sure this is his default, and maybe it's his SSR outfit, maybe this is the UR outfit, but I'm very happy with how this like outfit looks. It looks really clean. I really like it a lot. The pauldron on the one side looks really cool with the lion or like the tiger. I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be. I think it's a lion. But I don't know, I've always been a really big fan of like asymmetrical like shoulder plates for some reason on armor. It's always just been a really cool thing to me. So he's really, really interesting. The big thing here that I noticed was they're doing a step up banner, which is a big deal because we haven't gotten a step up banner in a really long time. So you're going to be able to get this Arthur for a lot less gems than a lot of the newer recent sort of characters have been. Like if you notice, like a lot of the characters lately have either been festivals or pre-festivals or like the in-between festival banners or just something along those lines where it's either like a 600 gem guaranteed or a 900 gem guaranteed for the festival. So the fact that this is a step-up banner where we get two of these multis are discounted down to 1 gem a piece. We get a guaranteed SSR on step 5, and you get the character on step 10. If you're unaware, or maybe you're a newer player and you haven't seen a step-up banner in this game, because it has been a long time since we've gotten one, it's going to take 242 gems to get through this entire rotation, which is really, really good compared to, having to go to 600 or 900. So you're going to be getting these characters for a lot cheaper, which is fantastic. I don't think that he's going to be a character that a lot of people are going to be like, hey, I'm going all out on this. I'm sure there are players who really, really like Arthur, and I'm not the biggest fan of Arthur, but I think that this new Excalibur Arthur is really, really cool. But another really cool thing to go over is the banner actually has a couple of interesting characters in it. So we have Elot and Belion, which aren't that crazy. We have Death Pierce, Blue Helbram, which isn't crazy, Matrona, Zartros, which again really aren't that much like of excitement. But we have Noblesse Easton. I'm not really sure which Easton this is. I want to say it's the red Easton, but I could be wrong on that. We're getting one of the monos. I know that the translations are off on this, but it's just because it's using Google Translate to translate these patch notes because they're normally in Japanese. We're actually getting Mark II Valenti on the banner, which is really, really cool because a lot of people skip that banner for sure. I kind of wish I would have skipped it, honestly, because I've really only gotten like 5-6 matches of playtime out of her, and I just really don't have a whole lot of use for her after that. But maybe this Arthur being such a human buffing like support unit is going to help out with like bringing sort of like those older humans like that haven't really got a whole lot of playtime in the meta, maybe bringing them back and being a little bit more meta relevant. Camilla is also on the banner, but honestly, I honestly can't wait for us to get a new Camilla, because the current Camilla, being a transforming unit and everything like that, really just isn't all that great. Or even if they just made adjustments to a new Camilla where the transforming was a little bit easier to get to, or just more interesting and there was like an actual payoff to it, it would be better. But that's a different discussion. So yeah, it is a step up, which is really, really cool. You get the character pretty cheap compared to what you normally would. The lineup is actually somewhat interesting. It's not just a whole bunch of like dumb characters that were already in the game in the first like, you know, month of the playtime. So that's really good as far as I'm concerned. The outfits are actually pretty interesting, and the biggest thing that you'll notice is that if we look at the actual outfits themselves, he has the same Excalibur sword in every single outfit, which means that he's going to be basically the same as Lost Vein Meliodas, meaning that all of your older Arthur outfits are not going to carry over to this new Arthur. He's going to be his own new like version of Arthur. So you definitely are going to have to buy new outfits for him, which is a little unfortunate. But honestly, I'm a pretty big fan of the outfits themselves. This outfit in general just looks really nice. I like the aesthetic of it. I'm just a big fan of like armored units, I guess. This one is more like, it almost reminds me of like a military like officer or like a general or something like that. Somebody with like a little bit more like rank or like prestige maybe. And then obviously they're giving him a casual outfit. I kind of like the hairstyle on it, but honestly, I'm just not a big fan of these casual outfits too much. He literally, his gloves are just like bracelets and stuff, and I just, I think I hate that. But that's just personal opinion on that one. We'll go over his skills really quick before we get into the rest of it. He's a pretty interesting character, definitely a support style unit. I love that he is a Red Arthur, because it almost reminds me of like an homage to the original Red Arthur, who was like super good in the early the early days of the game. Because like that Red Arthur was like a character that a lot of people were like, oh, like I don't really care about that Arthur, but if you were smart enough to invest in him, he was actually a very good character. So his passive is, if all allies are humans, increases max HP of allies by 30% and increases damage dealt to enemies by 20%. Activates when entering battle. So he cannot be used in the sub slot to get this sort of thing working, but you can use him on the front line. He gives 30% additional HP to all of his human allies, which are really good. It's going to make Escanor that much more tanky. It's going to make him do 20% more damage. Just altogether, like a really, really solid unit. I think humans have probably some of the worst units in the game, if I'm not mistaken. Like maybe fairies have a little bit worse, but as far as I'm concerned, like from a regular sort of like standpoint on it, human characters really, like besides Escanor, don't do a whole lot of damage, and they are pretty squishy. So I think this is a really good sort of passive to help try to bring them a little bit more relevancy. His attack skill is a AoE attack, so it does attack on all enemies. It does pretty low damage on the modifier, if I'm not mistaken. Like, if I'm just being honest with it, like at level 3, only doing 325% of attack. That seems pretty standard, but I think that it's just going to be kind of lackluster. It does do charge, which I think ignores defense. If I'm not mistaken, it could be that it ignores resistance, but I think that's shatter. So yeah, I mean, it should be able to do pretty decent damage, but I don't know if it's going to be one of those. It's probably, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably going to be one of those cards where you draw it and you're like, dang, I really wish I would have drawn anything else other than that. But that's just me. He does have a stance card, which I think is really, really cool. A new interesting stance that nobody else has. So assumes a stance which taunts enemies and decreases attack taken by 75%. So that's at the gold card level. Obviously it'll do less, but 75% is insane. And then when attacked for 2 turns and reduces ultimate move gauge by 2. So that's at the gold card level. I'm assuming it'll probably be reduces at 1 ultimate move. God, I cannot talk right now. Reduces ultimate move gauge by 1 at level 2, and it might not at the bronze level, but I kind of hope it does, because it'll make this card a lot less useful if it doesn't reduce ultimate move gauge. But I could see this being something that they tack on to the level 2 and level 3 card, or even it might be one of those cards where it just tacks it onto level 3. So definitely something interesting to look at there. We'll have to wait and see what the bronze and silver cards of this one do, but I think that this is pretty solid. The fact that it taunts is really good, because I don't think we have a human that taunts. if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of characters in the game at this point, so it's kind of hard to think of them all off the top of the head. I thought that this was really funny, the fact that the name of the ultimate move is Death Pecker. I think that's hilarious, but that'll probably get changed in the translations for the global edition of the game. But inflicts detonate damage equal to 560% of attack on one enemy. I think that this is really weird that they're doing it like this, because detonate damage, if you don't know, is it does increase damage depending on how full their ultimate move gauge is. And the fact that his stance takes away ultimate move gauge, it seems kind of counterintuitive. So if they were smart, if you were stanced and you had your ultimate in hand, they would attack you, so that way their ult gets, or their ult gauge goes lower, so that way your, ultimate does less damage to them. But I don't know, it could end up being pretty good. I've never been really too impressed with detonate skills personally, so we'll have to see. But I don't know exactly how I feel about that one yet. But the rest of his kit looks pretty good. He's obviously a support character, so maybe the ultimate's not meant to do anything super crazy, which would make a lot of sense. So, moving on past the Arthur stuff, something I'm very excited for personally, because I'm a big fan of Derriere, is Derriere and Monspeet are going to be getting a final boss, which is really cool. I'm still looking forward to the new Melascula and Gallon final boss that we have yet to get on the global version of the game, but this one is something a little bit more my speed, because I'm a very big fan of Derriere. I'm honestly not that big of a fan of the Monspeet, to be honest. Like, he's got this really like big hair. Like, it almost reminds me of like a Dragon Ball character or something like that. Like, it's huge, and I don't think I like it too much. I kind of like that he has the whole like skin pattern thing going on like that. I think that's kind of neat. And then the cape is kind of cool, but I'm not really sure I like how big the collar is on it. But altogether, maybe not a bad outfit. But the Derriere one is really cool. It almost reminds me of like a scorpion, because like you've got this like stinger thing coming off of the back of it. Maybe I can't really exactly tell where that goes or anything. But the gauntlets have sort of like this like beetle sort of look to them. So I think they're doing like a theme with these sort of outfits, because obviously the Gallon outfit sort of looks like a cockroach. And I think they're just trying to use like different like bugs or insects maybe to try to theme these costumes around it a little bit. So I think that's really cool. I think it's really neat. I'm glad that she has the short hair as well, because I'm honestly not the biggest fan of her like really long hair. But yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. Obviously, the Derriere outfit is the one that they're going to lock behind having a certain percentage in the fight, which doesn't really surprise me a whole lot, but it is unfortunate for a lot of players that want this outfit. So top 50% isn't too bad, but just a lot of like newer players and people who don't have the greatest gear and maybe can't get into like the hell difficulty of the whole thing probably aren't going to stand a chance at getting this, because if 50% means that half of the player base that tries the final boss is going to fail at getting the outfit. So that's a little unfortunate. Only half of the people getting it is a little sad to see, because I'm a big fan of Derriere. I wish everybody could have this great costume, but it is what it is. They've done this in the past with previous outfits, so it doesn't surprise me at all. Of course, they're putting the Monspeet one, I think the less popular of the two, in the actual exchange shop, so everybody should be able to get that if they do their the runs and stuff like that. Other than that, they're basically bringing back a couple of old demons and stuff. We just had this one not too long ago on Global, and I think they're bringing back the two more as well, but I'm not quite sure on that. We're getting a new Merlin outfit that kind of looks like she's a school teacher, some other, interesting sort of rewards and stuff like that, which is great. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of like exchange shops and stuff like that going on in this new update for the JP and Korean versions of the game. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot else going on. I mean, I think that was enough to really like satisfy people, if I'm not mistaken. I think that this is a really solid update. I cannot wait for a lot of this stuff to come over to the global version of the game, because I'm a big fan of this new final boss. The new Arthur being so accessible to the player base is really nice, and I think he's a really cool and interesting character. So I mean, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm a pretty big fan of it. I think this is a really good step in the right direction. I think with the player base being so torn on the game at the moment, they're getting burnt out on all of these festivals and having to spend so many gems on every single banner to get these new characters. I think this is a great step and a really good sort of it brings me back to the beginning of the game, sort of. Obviously this isn't the festival, so that we may end up getting something a little bit more interesting, like a sin or a commandment maybe for the next festival. So we'll have to stay tuned and kind of look at what we're gonna get with that. As far as like, I think they try to release the festival units depending on where they are in the story, and the fact that we're getting chapter 18 soonish, which is I think where we end up seeing Excalibur Arthur. I don't think they said anything about adding chapter 18 to the game just yet, but the fact that we're getting to chapter 18, which is towards the end of the 4th season, I think, whatever the current season is that's out dubbed right now, we should be getting some pretty interesting stuff coming up in the next couple of months. So we'll have to end up seeing what the next festival is going to actually be, but I'm pretty excited. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more content in the future, and I will see you guys in the next video.